Silicon Valley, technology, art, green, and sustainability.
Welcome to another episode of Silicon Valley Tech, Art, Green, and Sustainability, svtags.org. Today I'm honored to have a lady with me that's been a photographer for quite a while and doing landscape and cat photography for rescue kitties and other things. Julie Kitzenberger, am I pronouncing it right?
Yes, perfect.
I love that last name.
Thank you.
It just rolls off the tongue.
Thank you.
Well, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself, a little background, a little bio information if you like, whatever you want to share.
Well, I'm a California native. I grew up in the East Bay in Berkeley. I went back east to go to college. I have a Bachelor of Fine Arts from NYU and a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science from Rutgers, New Jersey. Right brain.
Wow, I'm impressed.
Right brain and left brain. And I've switched between having my own business and working for other large companies. So I started off having my own business, and I was transcribing for the court system in New York. And then when technology replaced what I used to do, I moved over to working for law firms. I went back to school and got the computer science degree, and then I came back to Silicon Valley to work in the tech industry. And a few years back, a lot of the tech companies were going through some workforce reductions, which gave me the opportunity to focus full-time on photography, so I'm back with my own business again.
So what did you do in tech?
Well, I came in as an IT engineer, IT analyst, business analyst. Actually, in the beginning of 2000, after the tech downturn, they started shipping a lot of the tech jobs offshore. So I saw the writing on the wall, and I jumped back over to the business side and worked as a project manager, program manager, ops manager, chief of staff, a lot of different things.
Well, wow, I knew you were an intelligent lady, but wow, what a background in diversity.
Thank you.
And now you're using the artistic side, and you're doing photography. Let's talk about the landscape photography first. And I was very impressed with everything you do, but I was drawn to a couple photos. And let's actually bring up the first photo now, if we can, which is, we can look at here on screen. Which is this?
So that is a sunrise shot of Mona Lake, and that was published in Bay Nature, which is one of the local magazines. Actually, Bay Nature is one of the finest regional nature magazines in this country. This is an exciting image for me because they were doing a special issue on the state park's budget crisis, and so I sent in my images, but every outdoor photographer has a shot of Mona Lake. And so I said, well, I'm going to send mine in. They'll never pick it. And sure enough, they did. So
it's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
beautiful.
you very much.
So what's the magazine again?
Bay Nature.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's the area's best kept secret. They've been around for about 10 years. You'll see their credits on public television nature shows. And we're finding they're more well known in the East Bay. But just a call out for Bay Nature. They do fabulous work.
Okay, well, I'm going to have to definitely check that out. And when did you start the photography?
So there's two answers to this question.
Okay.
The first answer is that my mom gave me my first camera when I was 7.
Wow.
And I've been photographing daily life and cats ever since.
No wonder you're so good at it.
Thank you very much. And you know, in those days, I didn't have a fancy camera, so the only tool I had was composition. And I get feedback to this day that really stands out for folks. And that was the only way I had of capturing and rendering the image. So I was always photographing because I wanted to share it with somebody who hadn't been there, so they'd know what I saw. Then, about 10 years ago, I happened to meet a I didn't even know it was a National Geographic photographer at the time, but someone asked to review some of my images from a bike tour through the Canadian Rockies. And she told me I needed to get serious and take some photography classes. And then she told me she was a National Geographic photographer. So my life pivoted at that moment. I started taking classes.
And that was how long ago? It was
about 10 years ago.
10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you started taking classes?
Started taking classes at De Anza and West Valley Community Colleges in the South Bay.
West Valley.
Yay, yay, yay. Big call out, by the way, to their photography department. Their chair, Brian Tramontana, may I call out that as well? They do a fantastic job, and they later were the ones that encouraged me to start doing gallery shows. I went on photo workshops, and then I just started traveling every free minute. And in the tech industry, you know, it's busy.
Yeah.
Anytime I had a free moment, I was out photographing California, the Western states, any chance I had.
Let's bring another photo up. There's like a dozen photos here. This one here, what is this?
So this is the Lone Cypress down on 17 Mile Drive in Monterey. There's a story about this, which is one of the things I do that I don't think a lot of landscape photographers do is I go out earlier and I stay out later. So this is the kind of iconic shot where when you go down there, there's a million photographers lined up on the edge. All the tripods are crowded next to each other and everybody's trying not to get in everyone else's shot. The minute the sun goes down and they've got their sunset shots, they pack up, take home their gear, and they leave. But I always stay. And these colors showed up later on. And so this is a shot that I got because I waited.
Because the colors were a later part of the sunset.
It was the afterglow, and there's reflecting off of a clear sky.
It's kind of the magic hour in photography,
exactly right?
When the lights are changing.
That's right.
Let's bring up another one now too. And this is, where's this?
This is the western side of the Grand Teton Mountain Range. Most people are familiar with the east side. They go over to Jackson Hole, and there are a lot of classic images. I was on a tour and we came around on the west side and got
that
this shot.
is just beautiful in
Thank
the
you.
snow. And have you been back when it's not snowing to take the same?
I have. Actually, when I was in college, I used to work for national parks. And so one summer, I spent 2 summers in the Grand Tetons working for the national parks there.
See, you've just done it all. Lucky you. And let's bring another one up now too. These two were 2 of my favorites that I was looking at, and I guess because of the water and the moon, and then you've got a lake, and it's so. What are the 2 we're looking at here?
So the one with the canoe, that lake, that's Mount Hood in the background, so northern Oregon.
So the one on the left is Mount Hood.
That's
Okay.
right. And on the right, that is Pigeon Point Lighthouse, just down south of Half Moon Bay.
So we can take that down. I actually was just up in Oregon. I think we got to see part of the lakes that go. I want to say the river.
Columbia River?
Columbia River, or river in the gorge, and yeah.
I think that's,
Yeah, so it's all connected. It's just so beautiful up there.
It's gorgeous.
So let's do one more slide here. I think we've got another one here that's, now this to me almost looks unreal. This looks like it was photoshopped. It's just so beautiful.
So it's a great example. A lot of people tell me
What
that
is this, first
Oh,
off?
so first of all, this is an old barn in the Santa Rosa area in Windsor. It's on a side road. That's a vineyard there, and that barn has been there for over 100 years.
And it's just gorgeous.
It's gorgeous. It's a classic shot. I know the family, and so they give me permission to display this, and I've given them copies. This image, a lot of people tell me it looks like a painting. I get that comment on a lot of my images, and I do next to nothing with them.
So you didn't do anything in like the Thomas Kincaid overlay, or it's just what it is?
Not afterwards, but in the field, I do things. I almost always use a polarizer, and that was shot in the middle of the day, very harsh, flat light, and that brings out the contrast between the white clouds and the blue sky in the background. And I also use something that we may take a look at, which is called a graduated neutral density
You want to take a
filter.
look at it now?
Sure.
We can, sure.
Sure. So this is something that a lot of the landscape. I actually have a ring on here so that I can put this. So I can put this filter on there if I can get it on for you right now. Here we go. And then this is a filter that changes from very clear to dark. And then what you do is you slide this on, and I use this is almost all the time. And depending on what you're looking at, you bring down the dark part, and what all it's doing is holding back the brightness.
Okay.
Because the camera can't handle the range of dark to light that we can see with our eyes. And so for that shot, it was so much brighter up in the sky that I would bring this down, and the darkness sort of lined with the top of the barn, and then you can actually spin it around depending on what you're doing. And that's how I got that intensity of
That
color.
shot was just amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.